So let us continue with the batch effects. There's a few topics left out on the batch effects. Let us continue those. Right. Any query about the previous part of the batch effects? Syntax of writing a batch effects, purpose of batch effects. Anybody has any query? Right. Now, there are few extensions on the batch effects. With that, we'll end the class for the day. Few extensions are there. Let us discuss about those extensions. Now, the point is, there are few extensions for these. What are those extensions? Let us see. Is the data from one batch is transferred from another batch. We are breaking the data into number of batches, running them parallelly. So when you are running them parallelly and independently, is the data from one batch is transferred to another batch or not? I repeat, we have broken the job into number of subjobs. We are running all those jobs independently, parallelly. Now the question is, the changes which are made by one batch, are they transferred to any other batch? The changes which are made in one batch, are they transferred to any other batch? Are they transferred to any other batch? That's what we are supposed to understand here. To understand this, let us take a quick example here. Global example implements database.batch. Global class batch state example implements database.stateful interface, database.batchful interface. What are the methods we have? I was taking integer. Public static integer size. Then I'm going with a start method. Global database dot relocated dot database dot batchful context. Database dot batchful context. Database dot get query located. Start method is fetching the data, writing the query, database dot get query located. Database dot get query located. Void database dot batchful context. Global void execute. We are going to run the logic. Here I told then I'm giving count equal to count plus 1, size equal to size plus 1. Global void batchable context. This is what we have given. Then in the finish I am giving this is what I'm giving. So look at this example. I fetched the list of records from account. I took I broke them into a number of batches. Every batch is running separately, and every batch is incrementing the value. When every batch is incrementing the value, look at the point. So here we have a pay. Look at this point. This is, let us say, 50 jobs I got, or 50 records. I broke them into this is what I got. So I broke them into number of batches, 20. The records are broken. What is the logic I wrote for account A? In each scope, how many records are there? 20 records are there. Am I right? And I told count equal to 0, size equal to 0. Like this, logic is done. Now, changes made by one executor, if they are transferred to next executor, the changes made by one executor, count equal to count plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 20 plus 20, 40, 60, 80. Count has to come as 80. When if the data is exchanged from one execute to another execute, the count has to come as 80. Because there is 20 records in one scope, 20 records in another scope, 20 records, 20 records. So if they increment 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20, 80 has to come. If I am not getting that count as 80, if the data is not exchanged between this, if the data is not exchanged between this, if data is not exchanged between this, count will be 0, size will be 0. Again, for next execute, count will be 0, size will be 0. Next execute. So everything is taking a fresh count. If the data is not exchanged, count equal to 0, size equal to 0, increment, it will become 20. When you go to next execute, again count equal to 0, size equal to 0, again 0 to 20. When I go to next execute, count equal to 0, size equal to 0, increment the count. When I go to next execute, again size equal to 0, count equal to 0. Why? Data is not exchanged between the execute. If data is not exchanged, count will be 0. If data is exchanged, then the size will be, the count will be 80. Now, if you get the value as 80, data is exchanged between the batches. If it is not 80, then what happened? If it is 0, data is not exchanged between the execute. So we want to see whether the changes made by one execute, are they transferred to next execute or not. So how do you do that? I inserted the value. How do you execute the batch effects? This is how I create. Execute. When I execute, go to the jobs. Apex jobs, batch books completed. Go to account and see. What is the value? Count equal to 0, size equal to 0. So data is not getting exchanged between one batch to another batch. Data is not getting exchanged between one batch to another batch. But I have a requirement that data has to be exchanged. By default, data is not exchanged. But I have a requirement where the data need to be exchanged. By default, data is not exchanged, but I have a requirement where the data should be exchanged. Then what will I do? What will I do? Go to this, give. Implement database dot stateful. One more interface we are implementing. Can a class implement more than one interface? 100%, no issue. A class can implement more than one interface. So it has implemented an interface called database dot stateful. Again, I execute. So look at this. Count is a non-static variable, whereas size is a static variable. One is static, another one is non-static. So look at this. Count to 22, size 0. So when I implemented a database.stateful, the data is exchanged from one batch to another batch, one execute to another execute. Which data is exchanged? Non-static data. If you want the data from one execute to be transferred to another execute, if you want the changes made by one execute to be transferred to another execute, then we are supposed to go with a interface called database.batchable interface. I hope you are good with this. So if you want the data to be transferred from one execute to another execute, what is the interface we have to implement? Database.stateful. When you say database.stateful, the state will be transferred. Data will be transferred from one execute to another execute. The data will be transferred from one execute to another execute. Which data will be transferred? Non-static data. Which data will be transferred? Non-static data will be transferred. When it will be transferred? By implementing database.stateful interface. I hope you got my point. Clear for everyone? Okay. Now let us take one practical example. Let us take one practical example where we use this. I have a couple of records here. This is how we have data. Now my requirement is fetch all the records. I don't fetch all the records. There is a fetch all the records. The 8 records are fetched. I give a very small size. Let us assume this data is, let us say, 50,000 records. When I fetch all the records, 50,000 records came. Now you divided them into batches. You divide them into 5 batches. Each batch containing, you divide them into batches. Each batch containing, okay, 10,000 each. Each batch containing 10,000 records each. What? like this divide. Okay, when they divided like this, now all the records which are owned by Satish, now like this we got. Let us assume data was divided like this. Now all the records which are owned by Sham, will they be in same batch? They divided into batch. Okay, in the first 12,000, I have one record which belongs to Sham. In the second 12,500, okay, 12,500, I have one record belongs to Ram. Third, fourth. Now Ram, all the records which are owned by Ram, are they in a single batch? Ram records in the first batch, one record, second batch, one record, third batch, no record, fourth batch, one record. Now what I want to do, my requirement is put all the records owned by Sham in one. I want to get Sham, Wipro, capital, CSS, group all the records, Ram, UCS, Reddy Labs, now I want to group it. When you want to group it, now tell me. So my data is in first batch, my data is in second batch, my data is in third batch. So take the data from first batch, add it to second batch, third batch. Now what happened? The changes what are made in the first batch, they should be transferred to second batch to third batch. Then only I can group it. Because all my data is not in the first batch. Some of my records are in first batch, some of my records are in second batch, some of my records are in third batch. Then what should I do? I have to exchange the data between the batches. Records which are Satish, put them in one batch. Records which are in second batch, put them in one batch. Records which belong to Satish in first batch, add it to map. Send the same map to second batch. The records which are in the belongs to Satish, put them in the map again, made a changes. Again send this map to third one. Again the records which belongs to Satish, which are in the third batch, add it to the same map. So what happened? The changes which are made by one batch should be transferred to another batch. Then only I get all the records grouped by particular user. Did you get my point? All my data is not in one batch. Then I have to go to every batch. In every batch, my records should be added to the map. Right? So the change which is made in one batch should be reflected in second batch. Change which is made in second batch should be reflected to third batch. Now, what is this concept? Transferring the data from one batch to another batch. Is it possible? Yes, possible by implementing database.stateful. Now, let us take an example. I'll give a demonstration of the example. Then we'll go with first look at the logic here. Map. Owner ID. For Sham, let us say owner ID is 005. This is how we got it. Now I told create a map. Create a map with list of then we have User ID. Stop. This is a map. Now what I'm doing for list of records are here. Account A. Account A. Account A scope. Now what I'm doing, if ACC map dot contains, if ACC map dot contains key A dot owner ID. If that account map contains any key called A dot owner ID. So key. Right. Initially there are no data in the map. So what is A? This is A. A dot owner ID 005 001. Is the map contain 005 001? No. If the map does not contain this, if the map contains this, do this. If the map does not contain, if the map does not contain, then what I was supposed to do? Look at the point. List of students. Names dot add the name to the list and put ACC map dot owner ID. Then put the username here 005 001. Then I have a name. What is the account name? Right. The next, move the A to the next. Move the name to the next. What is that A? We are moving the name to the A. What was that? If the owner ID, what is the owner ID? 005 002. Is the owner ID is in the map? No, it is not there. Then take the account name and put in a list. Then put it. So what we have here? Then again, this is how we are going to put it. The next A is moved to the next one. Now, what is the owner ID? 005 001. Is already there in the map? Yes. If already there in the map, what should I do? 005 001 is already there in the map. So list of string names equal to ACC map dot get of A dot. Get the existing record names. Then again put names dot add. Then again put ACC map dot put. What happened? Get the name Wipro. Then we are going to add capital. Put back to Wipro, comma capital. And again, move the record to the next. What is that? 002. Do you already have 002? Yes. Get the record TCS. Add the value called TCS, comma. Again, 001. Yes, already there. So add it to CS. Are you getting my point? So what is happening? If already data is there, get the already existing records, add a new value also to the list. If it is not there, create a new entry in the map. New key, new value. If already key is there, get the existing value, add the new value, put back to the map. Now already there is a value, get that value, add the new element to it, put back to the box. If there is no element there, create a new box, put the value. Are you getting my point? This is the logic. Already we have done this type of example where we have done triggers. Okay, roll up summary. Group all the opportunities that belongs to an account. Group all the payments that belongs to one customer. We have done this. The same concept. Now what is the example I want to do? Get all the records, group them according to the owner, send a mail to the owner. Now let us go back and see who is the owner of the record. I want to organize some. I will change few records. Owner, I will change it. So I don't want to do one by one here. So what I will do, setup, data management, mass. If industry equal to select them. So there are group of records which are owned by Satish. There are group of records which are owned by student. How you define it? Look at it. Start. Batchable context. Database dot query located. Start. Database dot batchable context. Database dot query located. Start. Database dot batchable context. String query. Global void execute. Execute. So what I was doing, you are supposed to create a map. ACC map equal to now it's a class. Every class will have a constructor. doing for account A scope. If ACC map dot contains ACC map dot contains key A dot owner ID. If the map contains the key called owner ID, then list of get, then say names dot add A dot. That's what I discussed just now. This logic is already discussed just now, right? A dot. This is what we got. Then go to the finish method. Global void finish. Global void finish. Then we are trying to send a message. Messaging dot single email message. We are trying to send. Then we are giving message dot set. Then body we are giving string. Then create a body. String a body for so we are supposed to take it. Now you are supposed to send the two address, right? I don't want to send the two address like this. I want to send a separate mail to separate user. Every user should get their own mails. So what should I do, boss? Set of ID is equal to ACC map dot. When I give this, what will happen? List of all the owner IDs will come. Then list of user. Users equal to select ID email from user get ID in for user users. Then I am going to create one map. User map dot put dot ID. So user ID, user email address. Now I wrote a software query for the user ID. If this is the user ID, this is the email address. Then what I'm doing now? Then I first I wrote boss user ID, user mail ID, user ID, user mail ID. Then I'm taking one by one mail. Then I'm taking one by one email for right. So we have IDK keys. Get list of account. List of accounts. Then we got here ACC map dot get off. List of accounts equal to ACC map dot get off key. ACC map dot get off key. ACC map dot get off key. Then put for body equal to body plus get the keys. List of accounts equal to ACC map dot get off key. When you say get off key, sorry. Get the account. Take one by one name, add it to the list. Take one by one name, add it to the list. If I give the account, if I give the owner ID, I get the list of account names. If I give the owner ID, I get the list of account names. That's what I created. Called map owner ID as a key, list of account names as a value. If I give owner ID, we get account. Take one by one account name, add them to the list. Then I'm going to put it. So subject. Then we have message dot set HTML body. Set HTML body. Then email address user map dot get off key. This is what the two address is going. So we are going to give string of right. Then we are going to set the message. Message dot set process. Now body subject HTML body two address. Subject HTML body two address. Subject HTML body two address. Then send the message. This is what sending a email to the owners that these are the records which are not assigned to you. Sending the email to the owner stating that these are the records which are assigned to you. Whatever the records we got, we grouped them as per the owner. Now what we want to do? Send an email to the owner stating that these are the records which are owned by you. These are the records which are owned by you. So I told emails.add. How do you send a message? Messaging dot send. First, let us run the program. Looking at the output, you get the basic idea. So if you want to transfer the data from one batch to another batch, what I was supposed to do? Database dot. First, let us run the program. Once you run the program, you get a clarity. Still not received. Let's wait for the file. Let's wait for the file. I still not received the mail. Let me go and check. Is the program failed or is the operation is pending? Go back. How do you check it? Jobs, Apex jobs. Batch Apex completed. Okay. Go back now. Refresh.
Satish, in execute method, we are not putting the list into map, I think.
Let me cross check. Names.add. You're right. I didn't put the data into map actually. ACC map dot put. Right, let me run it again. So you received here. Your accounts are, you need to go to the list of account. There is one more user. List of accounts. So every user is getting their list of accounts. Whatever the accounts they are owning, those list of records are coming here. Whatever the list of records they are owning, whatever the list of records they are owning, whatever the list of records are they are owned, whatever the list of records they owned, we are getting those list of records in the mail. Now, what was the context here? Look at the context here. What was the purpose of this logic? I told, group every records. The records belong to Satish, put them in one list. Records which belong to Kiran, put them in another list. Record, okay, owner of the owner ID or user ID followed by list of accounts which are assigned to this owner. User ID, list of accounts for which he is the owner. Like that we got. In the finish method, what I'm doing? Sending an email to the user. Now what is that? Boss, if I give user ID, you're going to get the corresponding accounts for which he is the owner. Take one by one account, put them in a body, send an email. Now, why did I take this example? Because when you're getting the list of all the accounts, there are 50,000 accounts are there. Then when you group the records as per the owner, all the records that belongs to Satish will not be in a single batch. So I need to go to every batch and collect the data of Satish, put them in a map. Go to every batch and collect the data of Kiran and put them in a batch. So the data need to be exchanged between the batches. That is the reason we are going for this example. I hope you are good with this. People are good with this, right? Now the next questions here. Now let us go to the next one. The point is, can I run the batch Apex in schedule Apex? Go back. Look at this. Now it has become batch Apex. Comma. Can a class implement more than one interface? Yes. I am writing batch and schedule together. Okay. Located. Then I'm going for execute. Database dot batchable context. Then I'm giving database dot delete. Then I have finish method. Right. Then I'm writing public void schedulable context writing. Batch effects and schedule effects can I write within a single class? No problem. A class can implement two interfaces. Okay. Then I'm giving batch schedule example. ID database dot now in the schedule effects example, what I'm doing here, public void execute is a schedule effects, right? The schedule effects, what I'm doing, creating an object for the class and saying database dot execute batch. When I say database dot execute batch, what will happen? It will call start. Start will call execute. Execute will call finish. So whenever I say database dot execute batch, automatically it is going to call start. Start will call execute. Execute will call finish. Right? So can I call batch effects within a schedule effects? 100% we can call. There is no issue. Let the program be saved. The file is saving. This is what we got. Let us save the file. Right, let the file be saved. Let's execute it. So the question is, can I call schedule effects? Can I call a batch effects within a schedule effects? Answer is yes. I have defined execute. Second point is, now how do you call it now? How do you call it? I'm giving here batch schedule example. String cron. then execute it. Now when you say this, run the class like a schedule apex. Run the class like a schedule apex. When you say system.schedule, it will run like a schedule apex. When I say database.execute batch, it will run like a batch apex. When I say database.execute batch, it will call start, start will call execute, execute will call finish. When I say system.schedule, it will call execute method of schedule apex. Are you getting my point? Within the same class, can I write a batch apex and schedule apex? 100% we can write. Can a batch apex call a schedule apex? 100% we can call. No issue. This is the exam. I hope you are clear with this. People are clear with this. Can a batch apex be called in a schedule apex? Yes, we can call it. Next one. Next important point is, can I call a schedule apex within the batch apex? Can I call a schedule apex within the batch apex? Now look at this code. This code I want to execute in the finish. Finish method of what? In the finish method, I was trying to call schedule apex. In the finish method, I was trying to call schedule apex. In the finish method, I was trying to call schedule apex. So now, can a finish method of batch apex call schedule apex or not? From the batch apex, can I call a schedule apex class? From a batch apex, can I call a schedule apex class? Let the file be saved. File is taking a lot of time. So let me create a new file otherwise. The finish method, I'm trying to call schedule apex. I'm scheduling it. We interrupted the operation, so we had an issue there. Now, within the finish method, we call schedule apex. Then I'm going to execute this. To check out, is there any possibility of calling a schedule apex from a batch apex? From schedule apex, we can call batch apex. Previous example you have seen. Now we call batch of X. Go to the batch of X. Jobs. Schedule jobs. What is the logic we wrote here? Example. Example. So go back. What happened here? Is the example schedule? So batch finished. It is called the schedule. So from the batch of X, can I call it schedule of X? Yes, we can call it. From where? Finish method. Can a schedule of X call batch of X? Yes. Can a schedule of X call batch of X? Yes. Can a batch of X call schedule of X? Yes. From where? Finish method. Is that what's clear for everyone? Am I clear with this? Look at the next points we have. Try to understand. These are basically interview-based questions. In a future method, can I call future from a future? Can I call a queue from a future? Can I call a batch of X from a future? Can I call a schedule from future? Then queue. Can I call a future? Can I call a queue? Can I call a batch? Can I call a schedule? From schedule, can I call a future? Can I call a queueable? Can I call a batch? Can I call a schedule of X? Can I call a schedule another schedule of X? We can go, but it goes to loop. Okay. Then batch of X. Can a batch of X call future? Schedule of X. Another batch. From where we can call? We can call from. We can call from. Are you clear? So future and batch cannot call each other. The rest of the things can be called. Right. I hope you are good with this. Right, Amma? Now let us go to the next major point here. Any asynchronous job running, where is the job registered? Job. At a time, how many batch jobs can run? Now, it will be having a flux queue. And this is first when you call any batch of X, when you call database.batch execute batch, register with async fx job, go to the queue and see how many jobs are running. Go to queue and see how many batch jobs are running. There are no batch jobs running. So add the job ID. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Already 5 batch jobs are running. 6th job will be, you called 6th job. Then what happened? It will add it to flux queue. At a time only 5 jobs can run. 5 batch jobs can run. If you have more than 5, they'll be added to what? Flux queue. How many jobs can be added to flux queue? 100. If any one of the job is finished, then from the flux queue, they'll add the job and add it to. At a time, how many batch jobs can run? Only 5 batch jobs. If there are more than 5 jobs, what will happen? They are added to flux queue. Right? If any one of the job is closed, job is removed from flux queue and that is added to queue. At a time, how many jobs can run? 5 batch jobs. Are you getting my point? Is that what's clear? Okay. Am I clear? At a time, only 5 batch jobs can run. Tell me, why are you going for a batch of X? When you are working with a larger amount of data, there is a scope of encountering a governing image. Tell me some examples where you work with larger amount of data. Tell me some examples where you encounter with larger amount of data. Let us say, update the opportunities, make a web service calls, update the opportunities, delete all the leads which are in the last 6 months. Okay, close all the orders. Larger amount of data means if you are trying to work with more than 10,000 records, there is a scope. If you are trying to work with more than 10,000 record, there is a scope. If you are trying to work with more than 10,000 record, there is a scope of encoding the issue. When you are working with a larger amount of data, there is a possibility of encountering governing limits. If there is a possibility of encountering a governing limits, we are supposed to resolve it by using what? Batch effects. Batch effects, how do you create a batch effects? By implementing database.batchful. By implementing database.batchful. Right? Start will call finish, execute will call finish. If any execute fail, what will happen? Only that execute will fail. If a finish fail, what happened? Only the finish will fail. Can I call a batch effects from another batch effects? Yes. From where? Finish. Can I call a schedule effects from batch effects? Yes. Can I call a schedule? Okay, batch effects from schedule effects? Yes. Okay. I hope you're good with this. That's all from my end for the day. We'll continue in the next session.
Satish, I have a question.
Go ahead, Emma.
So why we want to transfer only non-static variables when we are implementing the interface stateful?
See, now there is a concept called view state. View state will be maintained for only non-static. Every object should be independent. Now, if for all the objects, if the same, one batch data will be transferred to another batch. You get my point. Static means what? For every object of the class, the same. Now I don't want to maintain a state for every batch class. Now, for every object of the batch class, I don't want to maintain the state. I want to maintain the state for only every individual batch separately. What is the concept of static, boss? You create 10 objects for the class. For all the 10 objects, the same static data will be used. But here, I don't want to maintain the state of all the 10 different objects. For every object, I want to maintain a state separately. That's the reason static is not accepted. I hope you got my point.
Yeah.